This is the plaintiff, Ashley Jeffers. She says the defendant avoided a cat in his car and crashed into her fence, damaging it. He said he would pay for it to be repaired, but hasn't. And she's suing him for the $500 she had to pay someone to fix her fence. This is the defendant, Michael Steffi. He says he's a good person because he left a note on the plaintiff's door saying he damaged her fence. He was ready to fix the fence, but was told to stay off her property, and the plaintiff even threatened him. He's accused of not mending fences.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says the defendant crashed into her fence and destroyed her chicken coop and will not fess up and pay. Now, the defendant says he feels horrible about the chickens, some of which died, and was ready to fix the fence, but the plaintiff kicked him off the property. It's the case of Love Me Chicken Tender.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Ms. Jeffers. I really should start with Mr. Steffi, who knows exactly what happened because he was there and it happened with his car. So let's start with the defendant, which is not usual, but Mr. Steffi, tell me what happened.
Okay, I just got off work and I was on my way to my friend's house and I swerved to miss this cat and the cat swerved into me. So I hit the curb, and when I hit the curb, the car brushed their fence and it didn't really do a whole lot of damage. It just knocked the mirror off my side and hit their fence. I just brushed along it. I didn't hit it head on or nothing. And so I sat there for a little while. I got my tire fixed and they weren't home. So I figured the right thing to do was to go up and leave my name and phone number and information so they could get a hold of me. And I had asked them if they would allow me to fix the fence because I'm more than capable of fixing the fence. And they agreed to that. And when I went to go get the wood, I didn't realize it was going to be so much. And they had offered to let me do it Monday. You know, Saturday night, I got off work late and I was supposed to do it then. And when I was at the store to get the wood, I didn't realize it was going to be so much. And they told me I could just wait till Monday. Well, during the course of that day, Saturday night, Sunday morning, I guess a dog had got in there.
Well, you tell me about that, Ms. Jeffers. The gate that when you came, how did you notice the note on the door? Were you guys out and then you came home and you saw it?
It was actually my husband. He got off work at 4:30 and he was the one that contacted me and said, there's a note on the door. And then he went out, checked the damage, and then showed me the damage.
Okay.
And yeah, we figured we just wanted the fence fixed. We didn't really, we didn't want to involve insurance or anything if we didn't have to, because it was really nice of him to leave a note. He didn't have to, and I realized that, and it's definitely appreciated.
Well,
sure.
Morally, he has to. Morally, it is absolutely the right thing. It is a travesty that we live in a society where doing exactly what you're supposed to do is heroic. But yes, that's 100%, and I hope you pay that forward. And yet, look at us, we're here. So what went wrong? So he was going to fix it on Saturday night, and he didn't. The accident was when? On
Thursday, September 3rd.
Thursday.
Okay. So he's going to fix it on Saturday night. You guys tell him it's late. Don't worry about it. You can do it Monday. And what happens?
Well, he had originally said he would actually fix it Friday after work. And when he texted us, because my husband left a voicemail on Thursday, and then I'm sure he was off. And then he started texting my husband. My husband was at work on Friday. So then me and Michael started texting back and forth. And he wanted good photos of the damage so he could count the boards and see exactly how many he had to replace. And he wanted the measurements. And then he said, you know, he's got a Lowe's account. Can he do it tomorrow? And then we were like, yeah, that's fine. We had kind of put stuff in the yard to block the fence because it was actually the fence that connected to our chicken coop on the side of the road. And we had just kind of hillbillied it together to try to keep it from the chickens from getting out. And then overnight on sometime between Friday night and Saturday morning, I left for work at 4:30 in the morning. My husband got a knock on the door at approximately like 7:30, and it was a neighbor of ours, and he had stated that, that he better get up because there were, it's pretty morbid, two dogs ripping apart chickens on the sidewalk. So then, and they're my
How did
daughter's
the
pet
dogs
chickens.
get in? I thought you said that you put something up there.
We did. They must have pushed through it. It was like we had put like the chicken feeder in the way and, some other boards we had. It wasn't put together well by any means. We didn't know something would try to get in. We assumed we were preventing the chickens from getting out. And so they must have pushed through. And then that day I did send Michael, I'm sorry. I was very upset. I was at work and I was upset, and I was like, you know what? I was all for you fixing it, but now I'm, basically I was really angry and really upset, and then I realized that's kind of silly. He didn't hit the fence in order to kill chickens. That wasn't his intention. It was just something that happened. And that day I believe he went to Lowe's that day to look at the boards, and that's when he found out they were 6 or 7 inch boards. And we thought that would look kind of silly. So we said, it's fine. Just, the damage is done. Let's wait till Monday. No big deal. So Monday morning, I'm not exactly sure the time, probably around like 9 or so. It was Labor Day. And we texted him and I was like, what's your ETA? And he said early, because it's going to be 110 outside today. So I want to get it done early. And then before noon, he texted me and said that he basically only had $60 to his name. And by then I was very frustrated and I was just like, never mind. We'll just, basically do it.
So I saw the receipt for the $257 for the lumber. Then you paid somebody $100 to do it. And then there's $30 in screws. The rest of your lawsuit is about the chickens.
Yes.
The amount you're estimating to replace the chickens and raise them into laying hens. You said your daughter was very fond of the chickens. How old's your daughter?
She's 10 now. We got him about 3 years ago. And Michael was very apologetic. You could tell he felt bad about the chickens. He offered to get us 10.
I really do. That's horrible.
I know you feel bad, and I know you would have wanted to have more money in your pocket to do the right thing, but when you didn't have more money in your pocket to do it, you understand that she doesn't have to just keep waiting for you to have more money in your pocket. Because if you said you were going to do it Saturday, then you said you were going to do it Monday, how long does she have to wait?
I would have had it done that day. I was $40 short right then at that time, because nobody else I knew was awake or home, because it was a Monday. There was people working. I could have borrowed the money, but I just didn't. I was $40
Well, it was
short.
Labor Day.
And she told me that I would need 13 boards to finish the whole thing. And so it was.
So you actually asked her to front you $40, right?
In a sense, I just needed help for that $40 so I could get the fence done, because I got paid the day after that on a Wednesday. And
okay.
Later on, I had that money. That money did end up coming in. I could have had it done, but they had already called the police department on me and filed a complaint. And they had gave me till 5 o'clock that day to finish it. And by noon, they had already fired me and had somebody else doing it.
Well, they didn't fire you. You said you couldn't do it.
I would have had the money. I just didn't know that the place that they were sending me was going to be more expensive than Meeks, Home Depot, and Lowe's. But in the end, it only took 10 boards to finish it, and I probably could have got them.
All right, Mr. Steffi. I have my eldest daughter, when she was in high school, hit a car in a parking lot. And, of course, I raised her to do the right thing as well. And she left a note on the windshield wiper. And, of course, the person's was windshield wiping on the highway when she realized there was a note, and grabbed the note while she's on the highway, or it would have flown off. And then she called and was so appreciative of the note and everything else. And then when it was time to repair her car, she demanded that I rent her an 8-person passenger van, because that's what my daughter hit. I'm like, it's one day. You're not going to have 8 people there one day. And she demanded that I do it, and so I did it. And I remember thinking, geez, So I understand that in your head, perhaps giving you more time would have been a reasonable thing to do, because it's obviously a much cheaper repair if you can do it yourself. What you have to understand, though, is that she wants the job done. She doesn't know you from a hole in the wall. And she didn't know that you couldn't get the job done because you didn't have enough cash in your pocket to get the job done at that moment. And if you could see how someone in her position just wants it done at this point. You still had one chicken, right?
We do. We have one, and yeah, we've named her Beyonce.
One of the
'cause she's a
chicken wasn't.
survivor.
So, you know, she's a Beyonce because she's a survivor. I love it. But, you know, you can understand from her perspective that she wants to get the job done. And she's right.
Yeah,
she doesn't
totally
have
buy
to
that.
make it as cheap for you as possible. I guess the thing I'm struggling with is it his fault that dogs ate the chickens? And I don't think it is. I think that it behooved you and your husband to make arrangements where something couldn't get in to hurt the chickens.
Yeah.
Because that didn't work. And I just don't think, I'm so sorry for everybody, most of all your daughter, but I just think it's one of those things. And I don't think you could have foreseen it. So I'm not blaming you. I think that you, as you said, you were thinking of the chickens not getting out. You couldn't foresee that stray dogs or someone's dog would get out and come in. I get that. But I also think he couldn't foresee it either. I don't think that's on him.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to make him pay
I
for the chickens.
understand.
I am going to make him pay the $257, the $100, and the $30 for a total of $387 that they had to pay to get the stuff fixed. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. $387, and of course your filing fee. Verdict for the plaintiff. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
Mr. Steffi, I know you feel bad about this. But one thing we never heard about, what happened to the cat? Did the cat make it?
It was their cat. From what I hear, the cat did make it.
Okay, well, at least that's good.
Yes.
How do you feel about the judge's decision? What do you think? I don't think you're surprised, are you?
No. There was no doubt that I had to pay the money for the fence. There was no doubt of it ever getting fixed. It would have got done. But they told me that they had laughed about later on that evening about, you know, next time if they could teach me a lesson, it would be not to leave my information on the door next time, which I thought was kind of, that's what's wrong with people nowadays sometimes, I guess.
Well, the judge congratulated you for doing what was right. You did the right thing. Ms. Jeffers, what happens now? You're going to get the money. You're going to get it fixed?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
And how many chickens did you lose altogether?
So we had 5, 4 were lost,
didn't have-
and then 1 broke her leg. And so we splintered that up and she's fine. So we have 1 chicken left.
Good for you. All right. All right. See what the judges think about this case. Another session now of After the Verdict.
I'd like to think that every time somebody leaves a note on a car like that, like our daughter did that one time, that they do it because they think it's the right thing to do. But you know, today, every other house has one of those doorbell cameras.
Oh, yeah.
They all have surveillance cameras. All the businesses have them. So sometimes I wonder if it's like a little bit of that and a little bit of, hey, I wonder who saw me. And the real proof of whether your intentions are golden and correct is, do you get over there and fix it? And in this instance, I think he could have fixed it a little sooner. Just get over there and start.
Yeah, he
swinging
really
the
should have.
hammer.
They
Start
told
swinging the
him,
hammer
you
and
know, the
fix it.
deed is done. The chickens have been killed.
Right.
You know,
Right.
just he got out of work late on Saturday night. Wait till Monday.
But to his credit, he apparently checked, and there was a separate like chicken fence to keep the chickens safe inside the yard.
He did. He kind of rigged it up because nobody was home, so he rigged it.
Right.
He rigged it up, and you know, he fixed his tire, so he was there a long time. He wasn't trying to escape any liability. It's just, you know.
I just feel bad about the chickens.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's from Michael. Hey, Harvey. I'm going through a breakup with my girlfriend, and she is refusing to let me take the bedroom set I paid for. What should I do? Well, even if you paid for it, what's her position? I don't know the answer to that. His first position is you paid for it, but you gave it to her as a gift. That's one thing. If you were supposed to, you know, use it jointly, that's another thing. If it was always yours, then you sue her if she won't pay you, and you can get the money for it back. But those factors are going to be really important in deciding who's right and who's wrong here. By the way, this is something you should try to sit down and work out, because going to court is never worth it, especially if it's not a ton of money. See you next time.